It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for the Monday night recap known as the Shoe Shine. Joining me as always all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly, Irish, True Evil. Glad to have you back. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What's up, Dave?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be back on the air with you. Every once in a while, people got to take some time off from YouTube, and both of us weren't doing too well health-wise and whatnot, so sometimes you got to take a step back. And yes, we were making a lot of progress on the channel, and it doesn't feel good to leave the audience hanging, but hey, sometimes you got to take care of yourselves first. So I appreciate everybody joining us right now live. Make sure you share with the homeboys or your homegirls. And I appreciate everybody that's going to be watching this on the replay. Drop us a comment if you're watching this in the replay. Drew, as you can hear, my Puerto Rican salsa music this weekend belonged to Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga, I mean, he knocked somebody out again. Edgar Berlanga, the Puerto Rican superstar in his head, the chosen one, made a statement against, well, I don't know. I don't want to dismiss the guy, but maybe C-class opposition. I'm talking about Patrick McCreary. Was it McCrory?
I think he was a step below Jason Quigley level.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but there is some huge news in the sport of boxing, Drew. Obviously, today, the past 2 weeks I've been waiting. We've all been waiting to hear who is the face of boxing. Canelo Alvarez is going to fight May 4th in the city of Las Vegas. The fight capital of the world where I live in that now, Drew. Who is he going to fight? You know, the Jermell Charlo story was circulating for a long time. PBC's deal with Amazon had just come to fruition at the beginning of this year. Will Amazon pay Canelo Alvarez his ridiculous $35 million minimum guarantees? And it turns out today, ESPN is reporting, and everybody knows it if you haven't heard, Canelo Alvarez is leaving PBC and Al Heyman, and they've amicably parted ways, leaving us with him potentially going back to Eddie Hearn and DAZN. Shout out to everybody joining us. I appreciate you guys. Now that I've got some people in the room, I've got something very, very special. Shout out to Compita, SB, Sin City Syndicate. Drew, while I make this cocktail in just a second, I'm going to let you chime in because people have been waiting for what Drew has to say. Today, guys, speaking of Edgar Berlanga, I have this incredible product I found that is made right here in Las Vegas. It's bottled right here in Las Vegas, Drew. This is a pre-made piña colada, but it's made by a Sonoran agave plant that closely resembles tequila and mezcal. It's known as the in-between brother. It's only made in Sonora, Mexico, Drew. You know, Puerto Ricans love rum. So this is a shout out to the fight that could have been between Edgar Berlanga and Canelo Alvarez. Now, guys, I was mentioning this is like a tequila. It's like a cross between tequila and mezcal. So what they say is you got to put this one right here. This is their tequila, but you can't call it tequila. It's called Bacanora. Bacanora is an agave plant only grown in Sonora, guys. And this is the time when your boy Dave in the 702 gets to be a drunk on the air. They say you just put a little bit of this because this is over 45% proof. Now, I know you guys are thinking, fuck that, Dave. Put half a bottle in there or put an ounce. But they gave me this. They told me the recipes, just a little bit of that. And then this pre-made piña colada here is made with rum and that Bacanora tequila. I'm going to enjoy this fucker, and I'm going to enjoy Drew's rant because we're waiting for it.
I don't know, be honest.
My face is going to be red. All right, Drew, take it away while I savor this Mexican piña colada made with rum and Bacanora tequila.
I look at it like this, there's always two sides of a story and everything. And people, Rick Glazer is somebody that wants to try to get the scoop, but I'm the one that said PBC was going to go broke. I'm the one to put that scoop out and everything. So people should have known already that when PBC was going to another network, potentially they probably wasn't going to be able to afford to pay Canelo unless he fought Benavidez. So supposedly Benavidez and people offered him $55 million.
Wow.
And, Canelo said that we never got offered money. Then, they got offered, they were going to take $5 million. But it's just so many he say bullshit, and I'm done with it. So, you got, but I look at it like this. The fight that we all want to see isn't happening.
That's right.
We might wind up seeing cherry pick Belanga versus Canelo, which I think, I'll be honest, that fight happens, I'm really going to snap and I'm probably going to go off. But I look at it like this. It's partly the fans' fault that say Canelo can do what he wants. They give Canelo every reason to say that he can do what he wants. David Benavidez fans for believing everything that Benavidez people are saying. They bullshitting. A lot of shit they say is cap. They try to use other people's names to clout, unfortunately. But it's a fucking shame. Every time I go on other channels, there's some people in chats. It's a shame that they want to say like things that are untrue about me.
Oh,
like
shit.
I went online. I was in Maestro's thing the other day.
Some people were wait a minute. I don't even know about this, guys. And you guys think that drama only exists in the YouTube Las Vegas community? Shit, people was talking smack about my co-host Drew Eva. What?
So I want to say something.
Okay.
I was on Maestro's channel. I just show my face because I still feel like crap. As it is, I talked a little bit. So this dude EB Dogs or something keeps on bringing up the fact, this is the same dude that picked Kane versus to beat Devin Haney Trace. Number one, dude, I picked him the first fight. I didn't pick him the second fight. If you're going to speak on me, you better speak facts about me. And number two, if you're going to talk your shit about me, you better fucking have a picture instead of the letter fucking M on your fucking picture on YouTube. Because it's the same motherfuckers that don't show their fucking face, don't have their face on the profile, that want to talk the most shit. I have the balls to show my face.
That's right. Over 3 years. Over 5 years. We've been podcasting for 5 years.
Dave.
Damn.
Years.
And I thought, wow.
And it's a fucking shame that we still got to deal with fucking people like that. If you're going to speak on me, you better speak the fucking goddamn facts.
Well, had I known, I would have put the phone line up, guys. Today, I'm sorry, guys. The phone line is not active, but feel free to chat away. I'm all about free speech in this chat, unless you're coming from my boy, Drew, or you're coming from me.
I'm going to say this.
No, I'm just kidding.
If you don't speak facts about me and you spread some fucking hate, like fucking fake shit, I'm going to call you out like I do on this show. I'm going to make an ass out of you, and I'm probably going to make a pussy out of you, too, at the end of the fucking night. Because I'm done. All this time sitting here being like fucked up and everything, it makes me think a lot of shit. And I think about these dumbass people on here that talk so much shit. Dude, people know if I call you out, I'm calling you out by name. I'm taking receipts, and that's how it is. And I don't give a flying fuck if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're cool with Dave, if you're not cool with Dave. If I have a problem with you, I'm going to call you out on it. And I don't give a flying fuck. Like, you could be, there's people that I do not like that Dave is cool with.
That's true.
I try to keep it civil
and professional.
But if they do say something to me or say something about me, I will call them out, and I don't give a fuck.
Drew don't
All
give a
I ask is, you don't put Dave involved in it. If you do, you piss me off even more.
That's a damn good rant to start off the show. Yeah, shout out to Martinillo. He says, hello, Shoeshine Boxing and Drew. What's the reason Canelo versus Benavidez is not happening? Is it money? Martinillo, I heard the most preposterous theory this week that, well, first of all, we've been away from the air for a while. So let's talk about David Benavidez. David Benavidez has made the ultimate money move, in my opinion, with his father and his team. And it's one that I was begging for, saying, listen, if Canelo is going to continue to cock block you from getting an opportunity to fight for the undisputed championship, then do what your body is telling you to do. And that's to move up in weight. Because naturally, guys, he's weighed over 240 pounds as a teenager. He's been cutting weight in excruciating fashion to make the 168-pound division. Once the WBC champion, lost it on the scale once. He cannot continue to keep that weight at 168 as he's growing into his man strength. And he's at the peak of his game right now, just barely entering the peak of his game. He has opted to fight the Ukrainian Gvozdyk. How do I say his name? Gvozdyk, the Ukrainian fighter who was once a world champion himself. He is so freaking dangerous that he left one of my favorite light heavyweight champions of all time from Canada, Adonis Stevenson, nearly brain dead. At the peak of his athletic career, he almost took out Artur Beterbiev, the light heavyweight champion currently, okay? Gave him the worst, he was the best opposition he's ever faced. And he left Adonis Stevenson, the champion who had held reign for 5 years, almost brain dead. Adonis Stevenson had to battle back. It took him over a year just to regain mobility. That is a dangerous opponent, Drew. I'm talking about the Ukrainian fighter that David Benavidez has elected to fight, Gvozdyk, that he's going to fight him for a mandatory position to fight the winner of Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. And I say good riddance, good for you, David Benavidez, for not sitting around and waiting for Canelo Alvarez to give you that damn phone call you've been waiting for. He is literally one fight away from fighting for undisputed in the next weight class above with two tremendous international boxing stars, Dmitry Bivol or Artur Beterbiev. Drew, what do you think about that, man? What's your thoughts on that?
I look at it like this. Gvozdyk hasn't really, like this, he's been retired for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
He had like 2 fights.
Listen, by the way, those 2 fights, Drew, he took 4 years off. Like I said, mentioned, he was the world champion. He fought Artur Beterbiev, took 4 years off to fight a guy who was 20 wins and 34 losses in Mexico. Then he fights another guy. No, he fought that guy in Pomona. He fought a guy in Mexico, and then he has a win over. He won over Isaac Rodriguez, 28-4 at the T-Mobile Arena recently, and he looks good enough to get a big fight. Former world champion.
So I look at it like this. It's a good fight. I watch it and everything. Do I think Gvozdyk still has it? He does, but I don't know if this is too soon to put him against somebody like David Benavidez.
Right.
Because Gvozdyk caused Beterbiev a lot of problems before he went down and everything. He was really, I had him winning at the time of the stoppage.
And you're not the only person. I just looked back. Bob Arum had him winning the fight at the time of the stoppage.
So it sets him up for a mandatory shot with the winner of Bivol versus Beterbiev. So,
and potentially in Saudi Arabia, right? For like insane amounts of cash. Maybe 25, maybe 30 million.
But here's my take. This is his last fight on his deal with PBC. And is he still going to remain loyal to Al Heyman? Or is he going to look at his options? Like, he almost went away from PBC before the sign with Top Rank. But I really think he needs to realize PBC is a sinking ship. You're not going to get much money. You're not going to get the big money fights at PBC. Everybody's leaving them.
And you're not going to get the guarantee. I mean, this is why, let's be honest. Canelo's leaving them because they really can't meet his minimum guarantee. He set that precedent when he signed with DAZN, 5 years ago? Canelo signs with DAZN, making him the highest paid boxer in the world, where he said 10 fights, $35 million a piece. I don't give a shit who I fight. I pick who I fight. Well, that's what he thought. He ended up going into court with Oscar De La Hoya because he thought he was going to get to pick his opponents for $350 million contract, which it turned out.
They weren't going to let him.
It wasn't. That's not it. So he ended up getting out of that contract and going independent and trying to fish the highest amount wherever possible. And DAZN, not DAZN, but Al Heyman's like, I can't guarantee you $35 million. I don't know how to make $35 million if you're electing to fight Charlo May 4th right here in Las Vegas. We already seen him fight one Charlo, and that fight was trash.
Here's the issue. Al Heyman's still in his same books, having Keith Thurman versus fucking Tim Tszyu on a pay-per-view card, headlining it and everything. It's going to probably do 40,000 buys. That's all it's going to do. It's going to be a complete failure. It's like, you're wasting your money. You shouldn't, and like, PBC is eventually going to go broke. Floyd is your partner. Floyd don't have an idea. Floyd's all about protecting certain fighters.
Like who? Tank?
Yeah, Tank and everything. Tell you the truth, you're not going to be able to make a guarantee to pay Tank. You're probably going to be able to make him guarantee to pay his minimum $1.5 million purse and everything. David's not going to make $1.5 million fighting Grovestick. He's not. I'm sorry, he's just not. Like, and they're going to probably have that on pay-per-view now. And I tell you the truth, that's not going to do nothing. Like, it's going to do below 50,000 at pay-per-view. And, like, PBC, they're going to look at it like this. Amazon going to look at it like this. You fail twice on these pay-per-views, and you're not giving the free pay-per-views to the subscribers. Why am I doing business with you still? It's a waste of money. After this, I think PBC, after we see the numbers of Thurman versus Tszyu,
March 30th, right here. Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that Amazon's going to part their ways with PBC
after their first fight, because it kind of the card kind of stinks in a way. It's featuring some good fighters, some very interesting, but the matchups just, they're not speaking to me as a great pay-per-view special. Obviously, Tim Tszyu is a potential superstar. Keith Thurman was a superstar. You got other fighters on there like Rolly Romero fighting Pitbull Cruz, but yet none of these fights are resonating with people. There isn't any excitement leading up to this March 30th card. They're up against it, Drew. You're right about that. If they fail to impress Amazon, the entire thing could collapse. And there are some great fighters on PBC's, on Al Heyman's rosters.
I just don't get it.
Where do they go?
It's bad business practice. And like, I thought the best thing for Al was to go try to get a deal with his own. Hey, you're gonna be,
they might still go crawling back. Maybe they'll go crawling back
and everything. But at least you'll have the money, the budget for the production. You have to come out of pocket for your own production now.
Oh man, that's expensive. And they have a ton of other fighters to pull from.
And it's crazy now. And like, you luckily lost Boots because Boots was signed with Showtime, not PBC. And he's likely going to sign with Matchroom because Andy Cruz is with Matchroom, and Andy Cruz is trained by Boots' father.
Yeah. By the way, I thought Andy Cruz looked pretty good this weekend.
He did. He really looked good, and I'm starting to get high on him now. But like, I look at it like this: Boots' mandatory is Cody Crawley. He's getting ready to bail out on that fight, Crawley, because he's only making $300K on that fight, and I think if Cody Crawley was smart, I would say, hey, I want to part ways with PBC. Go sign with his own. Go sign with Top Rank or Golden Boy. Give me some fights and everything so I can stay active and everything. I feel bad for fucking Cody Crawley, man. I really do.
Like, the Canadians had it tough. Shout out to our boy Chicano Prophet. I see Nando Lamas in here. I don't know if Chicano's in here, but Chicano had a great interview with Cody Crawley. A big fan of him personally. And Drew, you're right. The guy's had it tough. He came to Las Vegas as an 18-year-old from Canada and lived in his car and was just basically sleeping and training at TMT, just, dying to get an opportunity. Here he is getting an opportunity to fight potentially the best fighter in 147. But for chump change, $300,000 after taxes and paying your team, well, that doesn't even buy him a condominium in the city of Las Vegas.
you're paying rent. Actually, it's a down payment for paying rent and everything. You're making $100K. And tell you
Yeah.
the truth, you don't fight for a year, so you're essentially making a blue collar $100K. That's a little bit above middle class if you look at it, but you're really figuring out how the hell am I gonna do this? How the hell I'm doing that, man? Then you having all these thoughts. So that let me tell you something, and I feel bad for a lot of these guys that are staying with PBC and everything. They don't have your best interests. They only have interest to save their image, their pockets, and for the guys that left, they want to pursue more money. They want to pursue more, be active. I commend you. A lot of them have left, and I appreciate it. But the dumbest motherfucker, and I don't care because he's a dumb motherfucker. He sounds stupid every time he fucking talks and everything. And he's fucking like seriously borderline fucking. Oh man.
Y'all counting the F-bombs Drew's doing today?
Wally, you were gonna make a lot of money fighting Ryan Garcia. You had a chance against Ryan Garcia, but you decide to listen to fucking Floyd and Al Heyman and take way less money. You're probably not even breaking $1 million, Rolly, fighting Isaac Cruz.
Yeah, and he said, I remember he was quoted as saying it's because, hey, I'm rolling with Amazon because Amazon's the biggest company in the world, so it's going to benefit me. I don't know. Was he going to get an Amazon stock?
But here's the thing. You're wrong with Amazon. But did I tell you that they're not paying for production? It's all coming and there's no guaranteed for you. You're going to get, like, let's say, oh, Wally, we're going to give you like maybe $500K, maybe a little less. And tell you the truth, you lost your belt probably to a guy at 135 because I don't think he beats Isaac Cruz. If he beats Isaac Cruz, then Isaac Cruz must have been one of the biggest hype jobs.
He's the only guy in recent memory to go the distance against Gervonta Tank Davis, Drew. And Gervonta Tank Davis is PBC's arguably their biggest cash cow. So why did they start their pay-per-view season on Amazon with not their big pay-per-view star? Why is it not featuring Gervonta Tank Davis at the top of the card? And honestly, guys, how the fuck does Gervonta Tank Davis let Floyd and other advisors let these two guys get a crack at each other, and he's fighting Frank Martin? What? This was killing them.
Can we just say something real quick? He's fighting Frank Martin, everybody.
I've seen Frank Martin fight twice. I've seen him fight twice.
The first time in a long fucking time, if we don't count Roy Romero, he's not fighting a Mexican. Let's give a fucking round of applause, guys. He's not fighting a Mexican to make him look good. Can we fucking just say that?
Frank Martin's going to get killed in there, man. I've seen him fight twice. He barely escaped an unknown Eastern European Olympian the last time I've seen him fight.
Frank Martin's going to get his fucking ass kicked. Frank Martin is technically flawed. I'll be honest with you right now. I think Ryan Garcia has more fucking skill than Frank Martin does.
Damn.
And that tell you the truth, Ryan.
Well, he's definitely got a faster hand speed.
Yeah.
He's got more natural power.
But I'll be honest, man. Like let's look at it like this. We also got Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney coming up.
April 20th.
Ryan Garcia. Let's look at it like Ryan Garcia is going to get his ass worse than Tank gave it to him. And he's going to fucking quit again. And everybody that wants to speak highly of Ryan Garcia, man, this is what I'm going to say to you. You low IQ motherfuckers.
You know what?
Don't fuck yourself.
When I get that notice from YouTube, the channel is monetized, Drew. We're going to have to cut back dramatically on these F-bombs. By the way, shout out to Nando Lamas. April 20th, Drew, I cannot believe two major facts about this show. And that's that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia are going to be forced to fight in Madison Square Garden in New York City.
The Barclays Center.
The Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Hey, tell you the truth, if they were fighting in the Madison Square Garden, it's a fucking insult. I don't give a fuck if anybody think it's like if I'm hating on
New York,
Madison Square
hey, New
Garden.
York is a great fight town.
It is.
Neither of them are really homes for Devin Haney, who lives in Las Vegas, and Ryan Garcia, who practically has a second home here now. He's been here nonstop for weeks at a time. He hangs out here. They're both West Coast guys. Devin Haney from San Francisco Bay Area.
I'll have a fight at fucking Barclays.
Why did they choose to have this fight in New York City? I'm not saying the ticket sales that aren't going to sell, but honestly, you could do so much better on the West Coast.
And Devin's a talented fighter. He's a really good fighter and everything. He's probably going to be great. But, dude, you're not the face of boxing. You did 50 fucking K with Regis Prograis. Let me just tell you something. No.
Which is why Ryan, hey, shout out to Ryan. He's saying he's the A side. Ryan's saying I'm the A side. I'm the one that brought all the views to Tank Davis's mega fight pay-per-view special in Las Vegas. This is why I say this fight should be in Las Vegas. It doesn't make any sense to me it's on the East Coast. Ryan's saying he's the A side, Drew, but does it even matter? Because I'm hearing that this is going to be free. If you have DAZN, this is going to be free. There is no pay-per-view. God. This is not a pay-per-view. And why is it not a pay-per-view? Is it because, as you mentioned, Devin Haney sold an abysmal 50,000 pay-per-views?
Let me just say this.
I thought Ryan was a pay-per-view star.
One thing about Eddie Hearn is he's a smart businessman. He saw this and he didn't want to take a chance with Ryan Garcia because, yeah, it did 1.5 him and Tank, but who drew the more people in it? Probably Tank. And we don't. And people.
Ryan fans will say it was Ryan that brought all the people.
And the verdict's out on Ryan Garcia. He's exposed. He's not skilled. He's a critter. He's going to put his head on this.
Nando, I don't know what handshakes. Nando says Ryan's a dork. Those handshakes with his posse was awkward as fuck. LOL. I don't think I saw that, but what I did see was that staged at the NFL, guys. You know, you guys know. Just I went to that fight on Super Bowl weekend, and at the Super Bowl experience that they had at Mandalay Bay, the camera crews were ready to film a staged face-off. You remember seeing that, Drew? That the dad was involved. Bill Haney was there. They almost came to blows. They did some pushing and shoving. Well, that shit was completely fabricated to announce this mega fight, guys. The camera crews were traveling with them. That's reality TV.
That's the biggest piece of bullshit I've seen in my life. We knew that was set up, and it's a fucking disgrace. Like, I look at a lot of shit. Let me just say something. Boxing anymore, and anybody can be fucking bullshit about it and anything. Ladies in the audience, in the chat, I'm sorry for fucking dropping F-bombs.
That's right. Yeah, you should be.
And I'm going to be honest, there are some hot-ass ladies in the chat tonight, by the way. But let's look at it like this. Boxing is nothing but bullshit anymore. And I'm sorry, I'm being 100. I'm not the guy that's gonna hide shit, that's gonna sugarcoat shit. Boxing is nothing but bullshit anymore. And it just sickens me that fans could fucking buy into this bullshit. I'm sick and tired.
You sound more jaded than Polly Malignaggi today. I swear to God, you said.
No, it's not like. Let me tell you something. It's a difference. He's an Italian. He's Italian. I'm fucking a Mick. I'm gonna fucking say the fucking truth right now, and everything. A lot of them don't like Paulie. They don't know me like that yet. Some people don't like me, and I kind of don't give a fuck. You don't gotta like me, but at the end of the fucking day, let's put it in there like this right now. When you got someone trying to say that I'm the face of boxing and just cannot give you a legitimate fucking reason why. Parker me home. That's Gaelic, Nando. There you go. Give you a legitimate reason why they're the face of fucking boxing. They have no right to say they're the face of boxing. Ryan Garcia cannot give you a fucking legitimate reason. Bill fucking Haney cannot give you a legitimate reason why his son is the face of boxing. Tank cannot give you the fucking reason. If you look at it, if all the cases, Canelo gives you the legitimate reason because it speaks the paperwork, the stats, the fucking numbers proves for itself. He's the biggest draw right now in boxing. Who does more numbers than Canelo Alvarez? None of them.
That's right.
And I'll be honest. It's a shame because when Floyd was at the top of that mountain, people did the same shit, trying to say, "Oh, he fought him." But let's look at it like this, guys. Floyd didn't want to fight nobody in their prime when he was Money Mayweather. Floyd wanted to fight people that were at the end of their career and exposing everything. And fucking it's right there. And to be honest, let me ask you guys something like this. Has Floyd ever been undisputed champion in any weight classes? Dave, you can answer too if you want.
That's a no.
How many times has Floyd been a multi-title holder in a division? Anybody? Anybody want to answer that question? Let's look at it like this. The main title he held always was the WBC. You see that whole bunch of fucking WBC title belt collection and everything.
Mauricio loved him. Mauricio Suleiman loves Floyd.
They let him get away with a lot.
Oh, I think they're letting somebody else get away with a lot today because the rules don't apply to who we're going to get into right there, Drew, right above it says Canelo leaves PBC and picks Jaime Munguia.
You want to know something? I want to see Jaime Munguia get his ass kicked. At least I'm not seeing Edgar Berlanga. I see the Jaime here. It's going to be an okay. It's going to be a mismatch, but it's going to be a firefight as long as it lasts. But I think Canelo Alvarez, you're going to find out because this is Oscar's fighter. Are we going to see the dipping and moving Canelo, and he's gonna hurt this dude? Or are we going to see Canelo more of a decline? And I don't want to see the decline Canelo because you want to know why? I don't want Canelo to lose to this dude.
Drew, shout out to everybody joining us in the room. I appreciate the Sin City Syndicate says, I speak more Irish, the Drew Lucky Charms. And Drew, you know what's coming up in March? Of course, it's St. Paddy's Day, Drew. And it also happens to be in Las Vegas, March Madness. And I've already got a bunch of people calling me saying they're coming into town on March Madness for St. Patrick's Day. And people are probably wondering, when is Drew Evil going to go to Las Vegas on St. Patrick's Day, Drew? Probably wondering. Shout out to everybody from Urban AZ for being in here tonight. As Drew checks his work email. I'm just kidding.
So I'll look at it like this. Like I'm just sick to my stomach because Floyd hasn't held no belts besides the WBC. He probably held the WBO maybe once or twice.
Drew, I need to figure something out. Boxing News 24 is announcing that ESPN Español, Salvador, is reporting that it's all but done. Jaime Munguia will be the opponent on May 4th. But today, people were still talking about Edgar Berlanga's performance, that maybe he's getting the nod on Cinco de Mayo. So I don't know what to believe because ESPN in English isn't reporting that Jaime Munguia is the opponent. I know I would rather see Jaime Munguia on Cinco de Mayo over Edgar Berlanga. But the bigger question is, Drew, and I know you love to rant on this, is why are boxing fans getting the shaft? Canelo is the face of boxing. He should be concerned about his legacy. He should be concerned about defending it against the very top opposition in his weight class because he holds all 4 titles. If he did go with Edgar Berlanga, it's a travesty because Edgar Berlanga, He doesn't beat this number 1 ranked Billy from Canada that we just recently seen beat the crap out of people on Top Rank. There's no way that Berlanga is ahead of Jaime Munguia, who we just saw demolish.
He's not.
Okay. There's no way I think he even beats Caleb Plant, the former world champion. There's no way he beats the WBA regular champion, David Morrell. David Morrell, in my opinion, would probably leave him unconscious.
He ducked him. Let me just say this right now. Morrell was at that fight supporting Andy Cruz. And they asked him about that fight. And no. Eddie Horn needs to stop capping. He's not the mandatory to Canelo Alvarez. He's the mandatory to fucking David Morrell.
The WBA regular champion.
So let's put that out there right now. And number 2, he's number 5 in the WBO. You wonder who's number 1 in the WBO? Hyman Munguia. And you wonder who's number 4 in the WBO? Christopher Mabili.
Right, the Canadian fighter. So Berlanga's way at the bottom of the pack. It's a safe bet. It's a great, anytime Mexican fighters get it on with a Puerto Rican fighter, it could be a potential classic. But when you know the writing on the wall that it's a mismatch, well, why waste our time with it? We've already driven David Benavidez out of the weight class. He says, I can't wait any longer for this magic payday. I'm going to go carve out my own big payday and all the respect to David Benavidez for saying, I give up. I'm out of that. Forget it. I'm done with it. I'm moving on.
Here's the thing. I don't think he beats neither one of those guys, but that'll be Viva. But if he was to beat one of those guys for the undisputed, wonder how bad this would make this. And people can say, "Oh, you speaking all fucking gibberish and everything." You want to know how bad this would make Canelo look? Yeah, this would look more like a duck. I'm gonna be honest with you. People can say, "Oh, neither one of them didn't want to fight," because I'm hearing fucking David, like Rick Glazer. "Oh, neither one of them wanted to fight." Are you fucking serious, Rick? Do me a favor. Go fucking try to steal a fucking another drink voucher for your fucking wife.
Man, I appreciate Nando wants to call in. He's one of my favorite callers. Nando, we did not set up the phone call. Drew and I just thought we'd get our feet back wet in action of the shoe shine. We will resume that phone line. Maybe we'll have another show at the end of the week. Maybe not. Yeah, but we'll definitely have the phone next Monday.
But I am going to say this, guys, for future reference. If you did not watch the fight, we're talking about the fucking night we're doing this show, the night before and everything. Please do not call into the fucking thing. Say, "Oh, I didn't watch the fight. Then why the fuck you calling in then? You waste my fucking
The great thing about the Zone is you can watch all the highlights on YouTube for free, Drew. And I've got Berlanga here cracking McCreary, I forget his name, Patrick McCrory, with that crazy right hand. I will say this. Nando says Berlanga showed him something there, I think. Maybe there's something there. Listen, Berlanga's always had that. He started off his career with almost 16 knockouts and only had 16 rounds of professional experience going into his 17th pro fight, where he finally went the distance for the next, 4 or 5 fights. And that's where we realized that he was basically still an amateur. Basically, he had very little to none professional experience. Some fighters do, 8, 10 rounds easily in their first few professional fights, and he had barely done 16 rounds in 16 fights. So there was a lot of holes in his game as a professional. One of the things that bothers me the most about Edgar Berlanga, Drew, is that he's a very dirty fighter. Let's be real about it. This is the only guy in recent memory that has bitten an opponent. He literally bit his opponent in one of those fights I just discussed, where he went the distance. He bit the guy. He should have been suspended for a whole year. In some cases, I think maybe you should have just been banned from the sport of boxing for biting your opponent. This Saturday, he elbows the guy, Drew.
And he kept on low blowing the fucking guy. And we're shitting on him, Nando. We're shitting on fucking Berlanga. And I don't give a fine fuck. I'll keep shitting on him too.
He could crack. Hey, go ahead, Drew.
Look at it like this. I'm sorry, but Berlanga, if you're looking at the skill set, he's a D-class fighter. Jaime Munguia will knock him out inside 3 rounds.
One thing I can say about all these guys in the top 4 or 5 of the 168-pound division is, yes, I'll give you this. Berlanga carries a lot of pop. He can crack with that right hand, but he doesn't set it up against elite. He's not done it against anybody elite. He hasn't done it against anybody that's a contender. He hasn't done it against the likes of a young contender like Pacheco and Billy, former world champions like Caleb Plant. He hasn't done it against anybody.
He don't beat
that's
them,
not
man.
a B or C level opponent. So when he knocks out this 35-year-old unknown Irish fighter, to me, even though he had a good record on paper, that's exactly what I expected to see, the return of the knockout streak. That gave him the opportunity to try to sell himself in the Canelo sweepstake. Yes, you knocked out
look at it like this.
BC level fighter.
I look at it like this. Let's go down this fucking list because people need some fucking knowledge. And I'm going to fucking... Caleb Plant, I'm going to be honest with you. I even think Caleb Plant stops him. I even think Caleb Plant stops Edmund Berlanga.
Well, Caleb Plant has ridiculous amounts of elite level competition and experience, former world champion. He's proven to have a very good IQ. He's proven to be a slick boxer. I think he probably does beat Edgar Berlanga. I don't think Edgar Berlanga is ready for a former world champion like Caleb.
Oh, Billy knocks him out. Jaime Mejia knocks him out. I don't even think he goes 5 rounds with Canelo Alvarez. I think the only way he goes more than 5 rounds is Canelo guides him.
If Canelo carries him. Yeah, absolutely, Drew. And you're right. For a major pay-per-view, you can't, when you know that you're that much better, sometimes you have to carry the fighter, as he did with Charlo, to give people their money's worth. You just can't end it that quick. Nando says, Drew, you thought Munguia was indeemable trash until recently, but maybe he's changed his tune now. Was it the performance against John Ryder?
Let me tell you something, Nando. You want to know what Munguia did that was the best thing for him? Hiring Freddie Roach as his trainer that can favor his style.
Interesting.
That evolved that style to at least have some type of movement. This kid can move, is moving better now. And he's being more, and he's using more, he's being smarter now.
Okay.
And that's what he needed. Eric Morales wasn't going to be able to do anything with him. I think Eric Morales was going to try to say, yo, just go take some shots of your face and everything. You were going to kill that kid. You were going to destroy that fucking kid.
Yeah, it's no secret that Jaime Munguia, throughout his professional career, is a guy that likes to take a punch to give his own punch and often leads with his offense and uses his head. I mean, the guy has a granite chin, and the higher the competition level, he just can't afford to do that, Drew. When we were talking about him potentially fighting David Morrell, or like you said, and Billy, who is an Olympian, all guys that can crack and set their combinations up too, you have to avoid punishment.
And that's another thing. He doesn't really use his jab, Berlanga, a lot. He doesn't neutralize the jab. And that's another thing that these punchers, like when you are a puncher, you gotta neutralize your jab to set up your shots.
Yeah, he definitely did not throw much of that. That's one thing I would like to see Berlanga improve upon, is using that jab and setting punches up. Because one thing I did notice about Berlanga is if you don't give him much to work with, he has a difficult time. It's almost he's not using the jab to set up his combinations. So he could improve upon that. He's just simply not ready to fight the top opposition. And if you told me tomorrow that Canelo has not picked Jaime Munguia or Berlanga, that's the fight I want to see, guys. Put Berlanga up against Jaime Munguia. Show me that. Let's separate the pretender from the contender on the zone.
And I beg you to God, please do not put that on the Puerto Rican Day Parade.
That's a fight that merits a neutral location. I would think like potentially California, Arizona, or Las Vegas. But not the A side. Berlanga is definitely not the A side. If they were to fight, yeah, but it's a great fight, honestly. Yeah, let's see the development. Both of these guys vying for a shot at Canelo, potentially maybe on Mexican Independence Day. I don't know what to believe, guys. Like I said, ESPN in Espanol is saying that it's all but certain that Jaime Munguia is the opponent on the zone on May 4th. If it is, I'm not angry about that fight. Obviously, the David Benavidez fight is no longer in the works, or never was in the works, even despite what crazy offers are out there rumored to have been made. We're not going to see that fight. So we just have to move on to the next best thing. And sometimes for the face of boxing, Canelo Alvarez, it seems like it's what makes the most sense to him financially, to protect his legacy. I don't want to see Canelo protect his legacy for the next 2-3 years left of his fighting career. I don't want to see that. I like the Canelo that said, I could take on Bivol. I'm ready for Dimitri. I want to see that guy. I don't care if you lose, Canelo. What's gotten people turned off so much is that we're seeing the Canelo from back in the day that used to cherry pick, Then he went from that phase with Oscar where Oscar was kind of
don't use that word cherry pick, Dave.
But let's be real. Oscar was grooming him to be the star that he was, and he very carefully picked his opposition. Always did. Always picked the development very carefully until he got that big money cash grab against Floyd Mayweather, where Canelo was obviously not ready for Floyd. But it didn't hurt his career. Honestly, I mean, how many losses does Canelo really have on his record? How many fights was he gifted? At least 2. Potentially Erislandy Lara, Gennady Golovkin.
I think there was like 3 fights.
Do I care? Not really. I don't care. I really don't care.
I thought there's 3 more fights that I thought he lost.
Which are?
I thought Lara beat him. I thought Triple G. I thought Triple G beat him.
Right, number 1. Mm-hmm.
I thought he beat him twice, Triple G.
The second one dropped, right? Could have been. Yeah, that second one was very close too. He's gotten the nod in some very close, controversial decisions. But honestly, I don't care, which is why I wouldn't care if he did lose to David Benavidez. Wouldn't care if he lost to David Benavidez. I say, better for Canelo. He fought the very best, including a guy who was at the peak of his young career.
He went out fighting the best. He took the challenge. At least he would do something as a face of boxing other than Floyd Mayweather didn't want to take it. He wanted to fight an MMA fight on his 50th professional fight.
Indeed. Drew, so Edgar Berlanga, if he does get the nod, Cinco de Mayo, do we look forward to Jaime Munguia on September? Because obviously that's Mexican Independence Day. It'd be an all-Mexican battle. 2 very safe fights. 2 very safe fights that could potentially leave Canelo Alvarez as still undisputed king of the super middleweight division. I think it's probably the smartest move because now that he's left that PBC thing, he don't have to fight David Morrell. He could escape that whole conversation about David Morrell being in the picture. All right, guys, Drew stepped away for a quick moment. How do you guys feel? Let me know in the chat. I appreciate everybody that's watching us. We're just getting back into this thing. Sin City Syndicate says Lara, Gennady Golovkin 1 and 2. Those are 3 losses. He probably thinks that Canelo unrightfully got the nod in some very close decisions. He has that career loss against Dimitri Bivol recently, and the one against Floyd Mayweather. 2 incredible fighters. Tequila beat Canelo. Guys, I am surprised that Canelo Alvarez's pre-made tequila cocktails are doing very well. I know some YouTubers, friends of mine, that enjoy that cocktail quite well, and I honestly think it's not that bad. So, but I do want to know what you guys think. Cinco de Mayo is just literally, okay, we've got 1 week left in February, and then we're about 8 weeks away from a Cinco de Mayo showdown, and yet I'm still waiting to hear the official word. Who is Canelo going to fight? Obviously, he's probably already getting prepared in camp, but the other guy probably needs to start getting back into camp. I'm probably pretty sure that Jaime Munguia has already begun to prepare, possibly if he's given the nod. And Edgar Berlanga, well, he just fought and he was unscathed, literally. So if that's the guy who's going to get the nod on DAZN, they need to know. We need to know. Everybody that's going to come to Cinco de Mayo probably wants to know in anticipation. But who would you like to see? Who do you guys want to see? It's slim pickings over at DAZN. He's obviously not going to fight a young contender like Diego Pacheco, who's relatively unknown. It's going to be 2 of the bigger names at that weight division that work over at the DAZN platform. Jaime Munguia or who we just mentioned, Edgar Berlanga. Guys, the thing about Edgar Berlanga, I just brought that up. I get frustrated watching him fight because he is, to me, quite quite the dirty fighter. Low blows, elbows. He's bitten an opponent. And personally, I think if he did get the Canelo nod and once he started to get his ass whooped, there's no telling how dirty he's going to be against Canelo in there. It's just the way he fights. It's how he reacts when he's in the ring. He doesn't comport himself as a professional all the time. So, Drew, yeah, I was just talking about those two choices. Who would you rather see? I mean, it's probably really obvious you'd rather see him fight Jaime Munguia.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but he didn't do nothing to deserve the fight, Berlanga. He doesn't deserve the fight. I understand Eddie Hearn's trying to make his client the most money, but Eddie's got to stop. Because tell you the truth, who's gonna it's a cherry pick if he goes and fights Berlanga. It's a fucking hardcore cherry pick.
Hey, shout out to my boy LA Shadow 8. Thank you for joining us. I haven't seen you in a minute. I do appreciate you coming up in here. And Sin City Syndicate and Nando Lamas seem to be getting it on. Nando Lamas is offering him $100 wager. We know Sin City Syndicate is quite the gambler. He says,
hold on, what they betting on?
Munguia gets KO'd in 6, and Nando says he's got $100 that doesn't happen. Damn, I like that bet. And
you know what?
I like it.
If he gets KO'd in 10.
So as soon as we find out whether or not that fight is official, I would love for you guys to come back and make that fight official. Maybe that bet official. You guys can call in next week. Probably will know exactly who he's fighting. Excuse me, pardon me. And yeah, please do call in next week, Nando. I want to make this bet a reality here. It'll be fun. A fun bet to make right here on the Shoe Shine. Drew, let's get into this fight. The fight's coming up this weekend because there is a vacant title at featherweight that I had no idea was vacant. Raymond Ford, East Coast fighter, very young, explosive fighter, is fighting on ESPN for a vacant WBA 126-pound featherweight champion, as well as DAZN putting on Amanda Serrano fighting 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds. We've seen this before. I wasn't too enthused about watching that. But
I don't care for it. I'm sorry, but all you're gonna do is like bab like that for fucking Trump. I don't care for it. She's not fighting a top fighter. Why the fuck I want to watch it?
Listen, Raymond Ford is fighting, I believe, a Eastern European fighter that's quite dangerous. Is a big puncher. So this could. What I like about Raymond Ford is unlike some of these other very defensive-minded fighters that we've seen start their careers at 126, like Shakur Stevenson. Raymond Ford is explosive, and he's a power puncher, and he's not boring. He's not boring at all, and he's in against a guy who can crack. So he's gonna have to work for this title, his first title opportunity. Drew, the Camden, New Jersey native. I just mentioned Shakur Stevenson. If Raymond Ford picks up this title, there's no telling. There's no telling where his career path is going to go. Will he eventually be a 130-pound champion too? And the interesting thing about him is he's coming over to ESPN when he's a matchroom boxing fighter. He's an Eddie Hearn fighter. You see on the picture here, DAZN. This is a guy that maybe Bob Arum should have considered signing. And if he ever gets a chance to, he might want to do that. He could walk away with this featherweight title. From Mexicali, you know, what's his name? What's the guy's name I love fighting? The Mexicali fighter at 126, the guy that's fought everybody and goes everywhere. That guy on ESPN will be fighting very soon too. And so this could potentially set up Raymond Ford versus that fighter. All right, guys. So I just mentioned that fight's coming up on ESPN this weekend. Also, we have the return of Jake Paul. Jake Paul is coming back, guys, and he's fighting a 35-year-old Californian Golden Gloves medalist. That is his claim to fame, but he's got quite the professional record, and apparently people have been watching him work out. He hasn't really fought in like 2 years, which is not a good thing in the sport of boxing. It's not a good thing to be 35 years old fighting somebody on a winning streak like Jake Paul. Yes, Jake Paul is a YouTuber turned professional boxer, but the guy has a lot of amateur experience that he's fighting. Let me just make sure I get his name right, guys. So Jake Paul is fighting Ryan Bourland who is, let's see, he is 17-2 as a professional fighter. He's 35 years old, and he's fought as professionally, mainly as a light heavyweight, but he recently fought at cruiserweight. Guy has a really good amateur career. It's a good fight for Jake Paul, who's now no longer fighting MMA fighters and other YouTube celebrity famous people. He's actually fighting real boxers. But as we've seen in recent times in the sport of boxing, activity is the most important key. If you're inactive, you're sloppy. Your reflexes are off. And as we age, 35 years old, you're not at the peak of your game. So it's very likely Jake Paul can come away with this win this weekend. And it's also very likely that Jake Paul hasn't been in the ring long enough to beat a guy who's a Golden Gloves winner. Drew, Jake Paul is fighting a Golden Gloves winner from the state of California. I just mentioned he's 17-2. Ryan Bourlon, 35 years old, and people have been watching his pre-camp fight, his tape. They've been watching him work out. People are starting to think Jake Paul could potentially lose this Saturday on TV.
You know what? This could be bad for Jake Paul, or you can just pay this guy to take a dive. So
I'm not going to ask Sin City Syndicate if there's dives in boxing, because anytime you talk about a celebrity boxer like Jake Paul or Misfits Boxing, you have to take into consideration all the dirty stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the sport of boxing. And to this day, it wouldn't surprise me if I found out that there's people taking dives at the highest level of the sport. Honestly, happens in every sport, right, Drew?
yeah, to like tell you the truth, I look at it like this. Dana White's challenged Jake Paul because, like, Jake Paul saying Dana White's a cokehead. He doesn't take a drug, like he won't submit to a drug test. And Dana White said, I would submit to a drug test for the next 10 years. Random drug test for 10 years. I bet you won't submit to a drug test to see if you're on steroids for the next 3.
I got the tape here. I'm not sure why. Boy, he looked older than 35. Let me show you guys a clip of who Jake Paul is fighting next. This is from Twitter. I'm not so sure I'd be worried. I'm not so sure he's even 35. And if you look at his midsection, he's really he's got a dad bod like me right now. I'm not too sure I'd be worried. No, he's got some skill set though. But, what do you think, Drew?
I just don't see it. I think this.
He can crack to the body.
Lose. Yeah, he can crack to the body, but you're training or you're going to the fight. It's a different style. It's a different things when they get to fighting. So.
Nando says, now we're going to bet or not? Now he's up to $500. That's a big bet. That is a big wager.
Hold on. So you guys are going to get ready to pay $500 on this fucking Munguia Canelo thing? Oh, God. This is funny.
It is funny. And it's been a good show to get our feet wet, as I mentioned. Guys, I apologize. Drew and I needed to take some time off. Cincinnati Sync gets up to $10,000 now. Come on now, guys.
You guys don't got 10 grand.
No cap. Let's not cap, as they say.
Come on.
10K.
You guys are capping your asses.
That $100 bet sounded good, though, Nando. Make sure you make that wager as this fight becomes official. Jaime Munguia versus Canelo Alvarez. Man, we're almost done with February. It's leap year. You know, it's 29 days in this month. Shout out to everybody born on leap year. All right, guys. That's going to do it for us. I'm Dave in the 7-2 Philly Irish Drew Evil. Like I said, we're happy to be back. We'll be going to taking the live phone calls next week. I appreciate everybody that's joined us. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, that notification bell so you know that we're live. I'm also going to be posting up some content, maybe going out this following Friday. If you guys are Vegas locals or love Vegas, I'm going to go out and film some First Friday stuff this weekend. Never know who's going to be up there, so make sure you are subscribed so you check out those video vlogs. Drew, any final words?
I did enough talking tonight.
Appreciate everybody in here. SBLA Shadow, Sin City Syndicate, Nando, everybody that was here from Urban AZ. I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next Monday. Peace out, everybody.